All right, good evening. I'm going to call the meeting to order in absence of Village President Chris Zellner. It is 6 p.m. on March 20th, 2023. And I'll take the roll call here. Nyla Fry. Here. Gary Herzberg. Phil Willems.
Here.
Chris Zellner. Aaron Moran. Joe Zitzelsberger.
Here.
And Sam Kaufman.
Here.
All right, with that, I'd entertain a motion for a meeting chair.
Go ahead.
I move to nominate Phil to take care of the meeting tonight.
Second.
All right, Nyla and Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
It's all yours, Phil.
Okay, confirmation of open meeting compliance, please.
I can confirm that a draft agenda was published in the Waunakee Tribune on March 17th, 2023. The final agenda was posted at all three official posting locations on March 15th, 2023, and the final agenda and packet were made available online on March 15th, 2023. I'll add, related to the agenda, that there is a public hearing listed prior or following publication in the newspaper of the hearing, but before our publication of the agenda, we did realize that that item was going to need to be pulled. So we still listed it on the agenda, but noted that the item is canceled for this evening. Okay.
Okay. Public comment. Anyone have a public comment this evening?
I don't have any forms. I would note that there's one attendee on our Zoom, but he represents one of the applicants this evening.
Okay, we'll go on to the consent agenda. I will not be voting on the consent agenda because I'm a principal on the Culvers on item 4. Okay, so anyone want anything pulled from the consent agenda?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Okay. Okay, we'll go to business item 1, discuss and take action on Heritage Hills Phase 4 development agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Willems. Very briefly, BH Heritage Hills LLC is requesting to have their development agreement extended in association with certain improvements along East Main Street. The original Phase 4 development agreement stated a completion date of 8/19 of 22. They're asking for an extension to 8/25 of this year, 2023. Primary purpose of this was anticipation of those improvements, or the review rather of those improvements by the state DOT being completed. However, they weren't. We were just recently notified by the applicant that they have had those improvements, or I'm sorry, the plans for the improvements approved by the DOT. So it's really that simple. They're just requesting that timeframe be shifted till the end of, or roughly the end of August of this year, to complete those improvements as approved by DOT.
Okay, discussion, anyone? Or a motion?
I move to approve the attached resolution authorizing submission of the Woodland West Urban, nope, wrong one.
Page 48.
Okay, I'm sorry. 48. That's what happens when I print it on both sides. Okay. I move to approve the amendment to the development agreement for Heritage Hills Residential Phase 4, extending the timeline for Main Street public improvements to 8/25/23.
Second.
Seconded by Sam Kaufman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item would be discuss and take action on the request for amendment to the urban service area applicable to parcels situated along the west side of Century Avenue and south of Woodland Drive.
Thank you, Trustee Willems. Let me pull my screen up. Bear with me one moment, and I want to get a reference map. There we go. Okay, what you're seeing on the screen is the area in question. You may recall at one of the board meetings last month, the applicant Dalmatian Farms LLC requested that the area in orange, there's a 40-acre parcel south of the intermediate school, have those lands come into the village's urban service area. The request before us this evening is applicable to the area in blue. So they're requesting that the urban service area standards associated with this land be amended, and we're looking for approval for staff to pursue this amendment before the Regional Plan Commission. And in this case, the standards that are being requested to be changed have to do with the stormwater requirements. When this was approved approximately 4 years ago, I think, Brian may help me on the date, there were certain standards related to stormwater management. Those have been changed by state statute. And so the request really is that the urban service area amendment standards for stormwater be amended to be in line with the state statutory requirements as amended. And those standards are essentially that 90% of the stormwater infiltrate be retained on site. So staff is recommending approval and available for questions.
Can I ask one?
Discussion, go ahead.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, the standards are being lowered, is that correct?
Essentially, yes, they're
And-
being
and-
lowered. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's because of a state,
A state statute, a
okay,
change to state statute, yes.
okay, so I just want to understand exactly what's going on. So does this mean that when this is developed, that it raises the potential for possible flooding?
It shouldn't. The engineer on behalf of the applicant is here and can speak more specifically to the flooding, but I think this requirement should alleviate. There's a certain threshold for I believe it's is it the 200-year event? Matt Schreiner is here. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. There's the mic up there. Just make sure the lights turn green, Matt. Thanks.
So yes, we will be meeting the 200-year peak flow control requirement for this property, so that remains unchanged.
So where does it lie now within, like you said, a 200-year? Where is it? If I know that it needs to be changed because of the state law. I'm just trying to understand exactly what the state law has done to a site like this, the change in the state law.
Sure. So the change in the state law requires that you infiltrate 90% of the average annual rainfall. And so right now, the way that the resolution for this area in blue is written is it's requiring 100% stay on for the area in blue. And that conflicts with state law. And that's why we're asking for that to be updated. Sure. Yeah. So the 200 years peak flow control we're talking about is the rate control requirement. So when this was brought in back in 2017, I believe the requirement for stormwater peak flow control was the 100-year peak flow control. So that's what currently is in the resolution. State or the local standards in the county have gone up since that time. So, you know, what we're asking for is really to match and meet the stormwater requirements that are in place right now. So in the case of the peak flow control requirement on this site, it's actually gone up and we will be meeting that 200-year requirement. Technically, because the DNR requirement has brought that infiltration requirement down from 100 to 90, that's what we're asking to change.
Okay, question for the staff and Brian, I believe. This was signed before the state law went into effect. So is it mandatory that it be changed?
As I read this, so basically what we have is we have statewide standards by statute for certain stormwater provisions. What we've been talking about falls within that umbrella. As I understand the state law, that's what applies, not what was approved previously. Now, when you look at the resolution and the way that it's framed, my opinion is that the 90% is going to apply, but ultimately the DNR is going to be the entity that's going to make this determination. So all we're asking from a village's standpoint is paragraph 2 of the resolution. Development of the properties are consistent with the Waunakee Westport Comprehensive Plan and will be consistent with statutory requirements regarding stormwater management. So if the DNR were to take our new application here and say, actually, we disagree. We think that because of when the USA amendment was approved, essentially those 100% standards stay in place, notwithstanding the state statutes, that's what would apply, would be, but the bottom line is whatever the DNR says, and they're the body that makes this determination, that's what's going to happen. All we're essentially doing is to ask them to make that determination here with this proposed amendment to the USA.
Okay, so how much weight does what this board have on what the DNR determines?
I would say no disrespect or anything, but zero. Because it's a state statute issue and it's something that the DNR has to decide.
I just wanted all this clarified. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
Phil.
Oh, sir.
Come in.
Yeah, trustee, I just wanted to clarify. So one of the requirements of the Regional Plan Commission in order to bring this forward is that the application materials include a resolution from the government body that essentially says, yep, we affirm that staff can go ahead with this change. And so that's what we're asking for this evening is approval of that resolution that essentially says, yep, move forward with the question.
That said, any other discussion?
I guess question on why it was 100. If there are any surrounding lands that, like we had it higher at 100 based off of their use with the school or?
I can. So essentially what the previous state law said was here, the stormwater standards are X and you should apply the local standards. And so we have had essentially an agreement with Westport. Their Westport was the 100% everything stays on the development area. And that's what we've been applying as we've gone through over the last number of years. It just so happens that in 2017, state statutes were amended that said basically, yeah, you can still apply the local standards, but there's an exception. And the new exception says, control stormwater quality or peak flow to address existing flooding problems or prevent future flooding problems, except that an ordinance under this subdivision may not require more than 90% of the difference between the pre-development annual runoff volume at a site and the post-development annual runoff volume at the site to be retained on site. So essentially we had a local 100% standard that now, in my opinion, has been essentially usurped by the state statute that was passed in 2017. Now, that's just my opinion. I feel pretty strong that it's accurate, but ultimately the DNR is going to have to make this determination. And that's getting at Tim's kind of comments regarding process. That's what this resolution is doing, is saying, okay, now we're going to put this essentially before the DNR.
Okay. Sounds good.
Any others? We have a motion.
I'll move to approve the attached resolution authorizing submission of the Woodland West Urban Service Area Amendment to the Capital Area Regional Planning Commission.
Second.
Second.
Anyone seconding? Oh,
Second.
Stamkos, I'm sorry. Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Thank you. Okay, our next one is discuss and take action on bids for 2023 pavement rehabilitation project. Our presenter there is Mr. Frederick.
Yeah, so this is just a continuation on our road projects for the 2023 season. This is the second part of our budget process. This is the rehabilitation of the streets. Bids came in budget. Sorry about that. And been through the Public Works Committee. They all approved. Streets we're looking at is Eric Lane, Sausalito, Coit Court, Winston Way, Winston Circle, and then South Madison from Grant to Main Street. Any questions?
Questions for the board? Questions? Anyone for?
I move to approve the resolution awarding the 2023 pavement rehabilitation project to Palin and Dolan in the amount of $533,070 $783.80.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Aaron. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, stay there, Bill. You're up again. Next, let's discuss and take action on bids and Strand task order for 2023 Village Depot Parking Lot Resolute Rehabilitation Project.
Yeah, this is again a continuation of our projects for 2023. I should mention I do have Aaron and Kent in the audience if having any further questions, technical questions. Basically, again, this is a project that was budgeted for. Obviously is going to cost some more, but we did apply for a grant that we're hoping to achieve, which help offset some of this cost. Plus, we did have some savings in our road projects from last year that we're also going to apply and hoping to have some savings in some park projects to also help cover the costs.
Discussion. Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution awarding the project to Waunakee Paving Corporation in the amount of $277,178.85 and approval of Strand task order for 2023 Depot Parking Lot Project.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Bill,
The other
you're
next one.
still up. Okay. Next.
This one's is a park project working on with Sue McDade. We're looking to increase the size of the Meadowbrook parking lot. It was a project that was looked at, I believe, a couple of years back and was put on our 5-year plan, and this is the year that it's scheduled to be repaired. So everything fell within place. We're looking for approval.
From the park,
Parks,
park committee, meeting we had there. When they're playing baseball, they're parked everywhere you can think of in that park, except the parking lot, because the parking lot just isn't big enough. We had a lot of citizens there and they kind of liked this proposal as opposed to a different, one that we floated earlier, so. I would make a motion that we would approve the resolution awarding the project to Northwestern Stone in the amount of $303,133.75 and approval Strand order task order 23-01 for the Meadowbrook parking lot project.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. See if I can get down to the next thing here. Oops. You're 4 for 4, Bill.
okay, our next one is the basketball court at Village Park. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the condition of that, and I know we've had a lot of people ask us to do something with it. This is the year we're planning on doing something with it. Again, park project falling in within our budget, capital budget. Just looking for approval to move forward.
Discussion.
No, this looks is long awaited. I saw some kids out there this morning playing basketball. I was like, just wait, it'll get better. So I will make a motion to approve or to award the Village Park Basketball Court Rehab Project to Parisi Construction for a total amount of $116,275.
Second.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, Bill, you're still there. Discuss and take action on resolution and task order for 2023 WDNR UNPS planning grant.
Actually, I'll let Aaron explain these next two items.
All right, we started a program of investigating about 5 ponds a year for sedimentation and capacity. It's about $10,000 in our budget every year. And Strand approached us earlier this winter or early spring, discussing that we can go for a urban Nonpoint source planning grant to do further investigation work. It's a 50-50 grant. So the village has, let's just say for the sake of argument, if it's $100,000 grant, the village has to put in 50 grand and then the village will get an additional 50 grand from the DNR to further investigate our ponds. since we're currently on a pace of 5 ponds a year and we have over 80+ ponds here in the village, it'll take a long time to get through this. So this is a way that we can speed up this process. So what we're looking for is to approve the task order for Strand to apply for the grant, and then a resolution to authorize staff to submit the grant application. This will go, we will bring back the amount that we need to match in a further budget. And so if we needed to go through in 2024, we will have that matching portion of the grant in our 2024 budget, and you will have a chance to approve it at that point. But this is the first steps of applying for this grant.
Okay, discussion.
Okay, I move to approve task order and resolution to authorize staff to submit the grant application.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, we have discuss and take action on bids for 2023 sidewalk improvement project.
This is our annual sidewalk improvement project. We repair broken or cracked or disjointed slabs of sidewalk throughout the village. This year, we're concentrating on the West Bridge, Meadowbrook, and the small area of Legends and Lockmore Drive. There's a map in your packet. We are also looking at doing ADA ramps that are out of compliance, either have too steep a slope or may not have detectable warning fields in them. We had 2 bidders. The lowest bid was from JB Johnson at $158,870. Again, this is within our budget. And we're looking for a motion to approve the award resolution and to approve the assessment resolution for the 2023 sidewalk project. The assessment resolution and engineer's report is also in your packet, detailing which properties are going to be affected by the assessment resolution.
This questions?
If-
Discussion? Go ahead.
If residents have a spot that they're concerned with that is not currently on this list, is that something that has any potential to be added, or?
Yeah, I mean, we can add small amounts of sidewalk if someone has a concern over a trip hazard or a slab of sidewalk that is on their property. They would still have the same assessment policy, so they'd still be assessed for 50% of that portion of the sidewalk, but we can add small portion of sidewalk if residents do feel that they need more sidewalk, or we've added partial driveway aprons or driveway aprons too for people that were concerned about their driveway apron. But the driveway aprons would be 100% assessed to the property owner, because that would be a special.
Yep. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the award resolution and assessment resolution for the 2023 sidewalk repairs.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I think that takes us to the end of the fun for the night. Anything else for a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Returned.
Good meeting, Bill.
That's how you're running.